You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions we've received from you, our viewers. If you have a question yourself, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. Okay, Brother Shabir, we have a few questions related to our show on Islam and the arts, which I thought was interesting. So one of the questions is about an individual who is in the photography business and was told that photography is not allowed in Islam, and is wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Some who have given this ruling base it on the idea that some reports from the Prophet, peace be upon him, prohibit drawing animate beings while allowing for drawing trees and mountains. The idea being that if you draw, according to these reports, if you draw animate beings like humans or animals, then you are competing with God, who is the ultimate creator, and you cannot create. You're just making a drawing, and God will humiliate you at the Day of Judgment by challenging you to put life in these things and to prove that you can't really create things. You can only draw like this. Looking at these reports, however, one should wonder if these reports are genuinely those from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Did he actually say this? Because on the surface, they do not seem to, the reason that they give do not seem to be valid, in that when a person is drawing something, one does not have the idea that he or she is competing with God. In fact, we might just be trying to, in a way, do at our level what God has done in a much greater manner, and we acknowledge we can never really do that. So it's hard to imagine that anyone is challenging God by drawing these pictures. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that even if you accept that as being genuine, then how does that translate into photography? Because some say that photography is like capturing an image. Let's say somebody is standing and the simplest manner is that his reflection is seen in water, in a lake, for example. Well, if we can find a way to capture that image, or like an image in a mirror, for example, then is that really creating something new? And the idea is, no, this is not. It's just capturing that image, and it's not like drawing. So even if those traditions are taken to be authentic and they prohibit drawing, which I don't believe that they are, then still, that does not translate into a prohibition of photography, which is a whole different ballgame altogether. And so many scholars today do allow for photography, even if they prohibit the hand drawing of animate objects.
Okay. So this is another question about acting. And the person is saying, well, can you do certain things that might not be allowed in Islam while acting, like, for example, pretending to be a pagan worshiper, for example. And I guess I would add pretending to drink alcohol or doing any other sorts of things that might be deemed un-Islamic, but one is acting in a movie.
Well, naturally, a Muslim cannot do something that is haram or prohibited, whether one is acting or not. But having put it in such a stark manner, one might wonder, what about blasphemous words? Because if one acts the role of a non-Muslim, let's say there's a depiction of the life of the Prophet, as has happened in the life of the Messenger, or the Messenger, a movie produced about the life of the Prophet. So or now a new series about Omar, the second caliph of Islam. You have people acting as non-Muslims, saying the kinds of words which non-Muslims said in criticism of the Quran, in criticism of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So can a Muslim act in that role? Well, this now is a question mark, because it means that the Muslim is uttering blasphemous things. And naturally we have to make an allowance for that, otherwise we would have to rule all kinds of drama to be, or many kinds of drama to be prohibited, or at least whatever we will allow for drama would be within some narrow confines. And this can hardly be effective. So one would have to allow for some such things. But then if one says, okay, consuming alcohol or something like this seems wrong. And there's no need for it, because if one is acting, one can consume an ordinary drink that just gives the impression that one has consumed the alcohol.
So that's the question. Would that be acceptable then?
Well, to begin with, the wanton depiction of this would be unacceptable anyhow, even if a non-Muslim were doing it. We have modern rules that curtail the depiction of people drinking alcohol because we do not want to promote the act of drinking alcohol. And so Muslims would have these moral standards and ethical principles as well. But the core of the question is, would it be prohibited for a Muslim to act that role as though he is drinking while not drinking? Well, of course, for him to be drinking, this is totally prohibited. This is a given. But for him to act as though he is, this is questionable. But if there is a need for it, then one can see some scope for allowing for this act and this pretense. While everyone knows the rules, that this is just an act and it's only to bring out the impact of the story. I mean, if we look at the story of Omar as depicted in the film, this has a far greater emotional impact on the viewer than if we were just simply reading the story in a book. And so to get that impact, we need the actors and we need them to say the blasphemous words. But then too, one wonders about the limits of such things.
Okay, very quick question. Are Muslims allowed to do video recording?
Well, following from my answer about photography, yes. Video recording would be, a collection of still images shown at rapid speed, giving the impression of motion. So if the photography is allowed, then certainly videography is allowed as well.
All right, thank you for your time, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
That's all the time we have. For updates and additional information, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. And write to us, because your comments and questions help guide the show. I'm Safiya Ali. For all of us here at Let the Quran Speak, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.